Okay. Again, please confirm that you can see my screen so we can begin fully.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. Lola, Baki, can you guys see my screen? Lola, Baki.
Yes, boss, I can see your screen. I just am trying to also get data at the other end. I can see your screen, boss.
Okay. Lola, what of you? Can you see my screen? Lola, uh, not getting any response. Either way, we are here again um, to this class. So the last class, I talked about how to make use of assets in your Flutter project, how to declare it in your pub spec file in two ways. Either you point to the file directly using this method, or you point to the folder that houses several files. So you can pick any file within that folder. And just like I explained in the last class, if you do not declare the availability of the asset or the folder in this pub spec, you won't be able to access that particular file. And let me run a build here so we can see what I am talking about. Okay, also in this today's class, we were supposed to talk about dependencies and how to make use of them. But I forgot to mention one very important thing. It's not much, but it's very important, which is navigation within the Flutter ecosystem. Navigation based on moving from one page to another and how to go back from a page, go back to your previous page and all of that. So yeah, we're going to start with that before we enter into the class, into today's topic. Or yeah, everything is just coming in as one single class. So while I wait for this to build up, I hope you guys have also opened your emulator or whichever thing that you're using and you're running your program. So as I'm doing it and explaining, you can also do so that you can see what I am talking about. And Laura, can you hear me? Uh, Still no response. Okay. Over here, I navigated to this point, and these these are our images here, and I specify this arena image, which is this one over here. But for this bell image over here, I only referenced the folder, which is this folder here, which gives me access to all the images within it. And of course, we saw how we can use an image, which is image.assets, if you're trying to use an asset within your file structure. While we're talking about dependencies, we're going to see how to make use of the image dot, dot file property over here. And also, we're going to take a look at the network property. Now, this network property makes use of a URL to display an image. This asset over here uses an asset we already have. File makes use of an asset we have, but is on a device. It points to the part of the device. We're going to come back to that. And network points to a URL of a particular image. Now, let's see this in motion. There's this particular website that gives you images. Placeholder, let's say image placeholder. I like that website. Place for, is it this one? Free network images. I didn't put the key. URL. Okay, yeah, this is it here. Pick some. Okay, yeah. So this is what they do. Once you call this URL, it just gives you a random image. So over here, I have this to get the square image. Just add size. I don't want to add size at this point. After da 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 da. Let's call this guy. Gives you a random image. Okay, let's copy this over here. Will be our URL, and let's wrap this one with an expanded rather, expanded image dot network, and we pass in our URL, and let's watch the magic happen. You can see now this image is from a network. That means it's from a URL. It doesn't reside in our assets folder here, and it also doesn't reside on our device. It resides in a server. Baki, Lola, Michael, are you guys following?
Yes.
Okay. Baki, what of you? Baki, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, I can hear you. I'm trying to subscribe. I'm not in the screen. I'm trying to subscribe so that the data
Oh,
will not finish on the way.
okay. Once you subscribe, just let me know.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so that I won't be calling you while your attention is on something else. Lola, please give me a moment. Okay, let's continue. As we can see, this image is from a network, and we're able to display it on our Flutter application using our image.network. All these examples are simple and straightforward. Now, we're going to do a little bit of navigation over here. From the beginning of this class, you guys have been seeing me navigate from one screen to another, and nobody asked how it has been done. So in Flutter, we have what we call our navigator. What our navigator does is that it navigates, as the name implies, it moves you from one screen to another. And it has several ways it can do that. As you can see here, there's a pop, there's a pop, there's a push. Now let's see navigator.off, and let's see dot. Now let's see the methods that it has to offer. Now over here you can see it has several methods and several getters and setters. You can see an activate, you can see a build, can pop, create, getter, all these methods here. So this is what I always advise you guys to do. Each of these methods, you can play around to see what they do. And you can also read their description here, just like how we did for data types when we're in that. It's the same logic that applies here. Now you can see there are a lot of them. But we're going to focus on the core ones that we are looking at, which is navigation, navigating from one screen to another and back from that screen. Now, this is how you do it. You put your navigator dot off context. Now, in Flutter, your context refers to your widget tree within this point here. It contains all the information of your widget tree at this particular point. Now, if your widget tree,
Hello, boss. I'm here.
okay, you're back, Abby. Okay, no problem. Let's see if Lola is back. Lola, can you hear us?
Yes, I can, sir.
Yeah, I've been calling your name for a while now. There was no
Hello?
response. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, it was
Oh yeah, it seems your network is terrible. Mike, is it also breaking from your own end? What you say?
Yes.
Uh, okay. Um, the video will be available at the end of the class because it's breaking. I can't hear you. Okay. So now over here we have our context here. Now this context refers to all the information within the widget tree. And there's a funny thing about Flutter and contexts. You need to be careful on how you pass a context from one widget to another. Now you will notice that this main here, this our main.stat file now, this class called my homepage has its own widget, rather its own context, its build context. Now if I come to popular here, it has its own context. But in some cases, you can decide to share context between two or more widgets, but we are not doing it for this particular case. We are keeping things simple and neat. Now, the first one that we're going to look at is push. Now, once you add a method here, it takes in a parameter, which is your material page route. Now, material page route. Now, your material page route has a required field, which is a function, a required function, a required variable, which is a function called builder. Now, this builder takes in a build context over here and it returns a widget. Look at it here. Takes in a function, returns a widget. We can do it like this. Return, let's say, another screen. And you guys remember what I said at the beginning of this class, where I say basically everything in Flutter is a widget. And now this another screen here, you can see, even though it is a class, even though we declared it as a class, it is extending a stateful widget, which means it has taken on a property of a widget, which makes it a widget. That is why even though we declared it as a class here, since it extends another class, which is a widget, another screen is a widget in itself. That was why we talked about classes and the OOP principles then, which we talked about inheritance, obfuscation, and all those other things then. Now this is where it comes into play. Now over here in our main.stat, we want to navigate to this another screen here, and we have this button here, go to another screen. So once we tap it, this function here runs, which takes us to another screen here. Let me rename here to be another screen so that we can see how the navigation goes. Another screen. So we are in here in another screen. Now you would notice that at this stop here, you have your arrow button that is pointing back. That once you tap on it, it takes you back. Abby?
Yes.
But now you would notice that we did not write any code for this back button, but it is just there. Now in Flutter,
But is this call recording?
yeah, it is recording. Are you getting confused?
But I'm not. My head is not just in the right place right now. So that's
Uh,
why.
okay. Okay. No, after the class, I'm going to share the recording now. Okay. So now you would notice that we did not write a code for this back button here. Now, this is the thing about Flutter. If you navigate from one screen to another and a screen is behind this your screen here and you apply an app bar, that app bar automatically comes with a back button for you to navigate back to where you are coming from. Now, if we remove this app bar here, you will see that it is gone. So app bar in itself does a form of automatic button navigation for you here. Now, in some cases where you be like, okay, that particular back button, I do not like it. This is a default back button. Now, you come into the properties of the app bar, and of course, the app bar will have several properties. We have our leading, we have automatic implied this, we have title, we have actions, we have a bunch of things here. Like I always say, I can't go over all the properties of each widget. It's up to you that you're learning for you to go in there and play with them and see what each of those properties they do. Now, for the purpose of this demonstration, I am going to show you what the leading property does. Now, this leading takes in a widget, takes in a widget. So now let's say we pass in a container. You can see that this guy here has disappeared. It's no longer there. Now that's to tell you that by default, if you do not pass any leading widget, the default placeholder here will be a navigation button that takes you back to the previous screen that you're coming from. So now we are in the business of trying to tweak. We do not like this navigation here. We want to tweak it to something else to possibly suit our design. So let's say we pass in an icon. Yeah, this is the icon widget over here. This gives you access to all the inbuilt icons that Flutter has to offer. They are a lot. I use them sometimes. And as you can see here, arrow back. This is the default icon for this navigation here. Okay, I've removed it. Over here, we can scroll down and we can see several types of
Sorry, sir, to stop.
what?
How to off and on it again? I can't even see your button moving. Let me come back again.
You want to restart your internet? Bolu?
I want to go off the meeting and come back.
Oh, okay.
I want to go
Then
off
let's
the
wait for
meeting
you
and
then.
come back. I can't see you navigating at all.
Okay, we'll wait for you then. Bolo, can you see it now?
No, sir.
Yes or no?
I guess it's the network. No, sir, I can't. I guess it's my network. I'm just seeing your profile pic picture.
Mike, back here, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Uh, okay, let me try to stop and share again. Possibly that might help.
Thank you, sir.
What of now? Lola, what of now?
Sir, it's still the same thing. So don't worry, I'll go back to the video.
Okay, no problem then. Um,
This is all what I'm seeing.
you're just seeing only my profile picture now.
Yes.
It's your network there. Okay. As I was saying, if we want to change the icon here, we're going to modify our leading parameter, and we're using the default icons provided to us by Flutter. Now we can go through all of them. Okay, let's use this one over here. You can see the icon has changed. But if we tap on it like this, it has no function. That's because we've overwritten the default one that is there, which automatically takes us back. I'm going to show you the function that is responsible for that. It's still within the navigator section. So I'm going to wrap this with a gesture detector. Now, this is the thing about Flutter. There are so many widgets, I can't cover it up. But as I do things and as more widgets come up, I'm going to explain what the widget does. Now, this gesture detector, what it does is that, as the name implies, it detects gesture of the screen. And over here, we have on tap. That means we tap on it. You have on tap down. The user taps and holds. We have on tap cancel. We have several gestures that it listens to. Now, you can have, there are lots and lots of them. We have dragging up, dragging down, pinching in, all those gestures, everything are covered within the gesture detector widget. Now, once you wrap any widget with this gesture detector, any gesture that you do on that widget will be captured by the gesture detector. Therefore, you can now do things with that gesture. And I'm going to show you how. Now, we've wrapped this our icon here with our gesture detector. Remember, I am tapping, but nothing is happening. Now we can come over here and use the property of untap. Now untap takes in a function. Now once I hit print, now let me use log so that it will be yellow. I am pressed. Now once I hit this here, you can see now it logs it. I am pressed. I am pressed. Telling you that this gesture detector here is working. Which leads us to the next question. Okay, how do we now make this our icon here take us back to the previous screen? That's where navigator.off.pop comes in. Pop removes the current widget on the widget tree. As I said at the beginning of one of our classes, Flutter uses a hierarchy system, which is layer on top of layer. So if you want to get to the previous layer, you have to remove the top uppermost layer. Basically, a first in, first out approach. Or yeah. Okay, no, 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 no. It should be yeah. Okay, last in, first out. Yes, that's the approach that Flutter uses for its navigation for popping. Last in, first out. I don't know if you guys have heard of these arrangements of data. First in, first out, last in, last out, last in, first out,
You know,
and first in, last out.
little, and we know that.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, for your navigation
Yes.
for popping, that's what it makes use of. I've forgotten the group name. I've forgotten what they are grouped under. Forgotten the name, but that's thing. First in, first out. Basically, the first item that enters the queue is the first item that leaves the queue. Last in, last out. The last item that enters in is the last item that enters out. First in, last out. The first item that enters in is the last item that goes out. That those particular scenarios can be applied to a wide range of things. But at this particular point, we are using our last in, first out principle. That's what this navigator.pop does. Pop means remove this current screen that is here, or remove this current widget. Now, see, I tap it now. Pop, it's gone out. It has removed it. Now, let me go to it again. Tap on it. Pop, I am pressed, and it removes it. So right now, I have shown you two navigations. To navigate to a screen and to remove a widget from your widget tree. Basically, see it as navigator.push, add a widget to the widget tree. Navigator.pop, remove a widget from the widget tree. Now, let's go to another example here of our navigation. Let me add a button. I think I should be using go to another screen. Let's say push. Okay, this will be easier for you guys when you're going back to the code. Let me do it like this. Push. Now navigate to another screen. Now we'll take a look at another navigator over here. And navigator dot off the context dot. Now you can see you have several push types. You have push and remove until, you have push named, you have push named and remove until, you have push replacement, you have push replacement named, you have pop and push. You can see that there are several ways that you can navigate to another screen. Now let's take a look at push and remove until, but let's read what they say about it. Push the given route onto the navigator and then remove all the previous routes until the predicate returns true. These people like speaking plenty grammar. And the only way for you to understand their plenty grammar and English is by practicalizing it and seeing what it does. So let's look at what it does. It takes in a new route. Now, once you hover on top of here, you can see it takes in a new route and it takes in a Boolean function here, which is a predicate. Now, this new route, what does it take? It takes in a material page route, which is similar to what we have here. Are you guys seeing it, Abi? Now, we have here context, and of course, we return our another screen here. But now, this second part here tells us that, okay, it's supposed to take in a function that returns a Boolean. Now, let's see how we can do that. True. This, again, let's look at it. Push and remove until takes in two parameters here. First parameter is a new route, which is a route. and I've already shown you the route, which is our material page route, which takes in a builder, and you pass the context and you return the screen that you want to go to. Then it takes in a function that returns a boolean over here. That is why I created this function that returns a boolean, which is true. So now let's say we can also do it like this: return true. Here it will still give us the same thing. But for this particular one, I prefer this shorthand method. Now, what this particular push and remove does is that it removes all the screens that are behind and pushes to the page that you want to go to. So now let's hit it. You can see that it takes us to this page. But now there is a problem. And what is the problem? The problem is that, okay, if we now decide to go back to our previous screen, we cannot go back again because there is no screen for us to go back to because it has removed all the previous screens. Now, although this function is here, if I pop it, it will run, but it will lead us to an error. But let me remove this particular leading parameter here. It's showing us back. Now, once we hit it, we are still going back, Abby. Let's go. Which one did I hit? Okay. There should be false here, and let's hit it. Aha. Now, what did you guys notice? That even, wait, first of all, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I can hear you. I can hear
Okay.
you.
Baki and Mike, are you guys following? Lola, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. It just started showing as I came in again.
Okay, just started showing. Okay. So Mike and Baki, are you guys following?
Yes.
Let's go.
Mike, what of you?
Boss, I'm here.
You are here, but you are not following.
See, my mind is knowing I'm not going to lie to you. Actually.
No problem. Yeah, you will have to go back to the video. Lola, are you following?
Yes, sir. Like now.
Yes. Now,
Yes, it just came in. So I'm listening.
okay. So I'm going to take this again. You would notice that when I was explaining the default behavior of your app bar, that I told you that by default, if there is another screen behind the screen that you are on, it will automatically show you that back button. But here, there is no back button here. That's because there is no screen behind it because we have used this particular kind of push. So we push to this screen here, but, or rather, and we removed all the other previous screens that we are under. So by default, this is only the screen that we have here on our widget tree. That is why we do not have that our default navigation that pushes us back. But if, since we have coconut head and we can, manually put our leading widget here. Now we've manually put this, our leading widget here to take us back to a screen. But now we do not have any screen to go back to. So once we go back here, it's going to throw an error for us. And boom, it is blank here. Because there is nothing to go back to. It's just blank. In some cases, you will get a debug locked error. In some cases. And at this particular point, there's only one thing for you to do, which is to restart your application because you can't navigate from this darkness again. So yeah, I have restarted the application and we are on this screen. Which leads us to another very important thing. If you are using this push and remove until, make sure that the screen you are going to does not have a button that does a pop, that pops out that screen. If not, it will lead to that blackness that you see. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that is for push and remove until. And let me go to that screen. Push and remove. Now let's look at another one. This should just be its own class. But let's say dependencies are not all that much. And we have pop until. Now, what does pop until does? Pops repeatedly until the predicate returns true. The predicate may be applied to the same route more than once. Basically, plenty English. And as I said, the way for you to find out is by you putting stuff inside and seeing the result. Now let's look at another one. Okay, let's go for this push named. Now let's see how it can be different. Now, notice something about this push named. It takes in a route name. These other ones here, this push over here, what's it? Where is it? Okay. This push over here takes in, I need to write this. This push over here takes in a route. But this push named takes in a route name instead, which is a string. Now, how do we apply this? Now, in order for you to apply this particular one, you have to go back to your material app where we have a parameter called routes over here. Now, what does route take in? Route takes in a map. Look at it over here. It takes in a map which has a string and a widget builder. Now, let's see how this works. And of course, we know how our. Please give me a moment. The call is coming. Hello? Yeah, I do. How you side? No, I did do one tutorial for some people like that. Other buttons as I now. No, leave all those ones. Those ones no dey on top of the picture. The ones where I dey concerned are the ones wey dey on top of the post picture itself. Yeah. Yes. Leave those like, comment, share, and save. Leave those ones. They will dey where they dey. So basically, different posts get different abilities. Now, if you look at gift, you get one way says give a gift. So now if the person creates a gift post now, they fit tap on that button to actually gift the person based on that post where they put. And different post types get different functionalities. That's why it dey on top. But now we want remove am from that on top, make it dey for separate below the something. Because we don't notice say, yeah, if it dey on top, it dey cover some aspects of the pictures. No, it will just be below the picture itself. Yeah. No, 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 about that. Sorry guys, please just give me one moment. It won't be long. I need to quickly do something. Uh, this thing is still recording. Okay, either way, I'll come back. Don't worry. This thing is still recording my screen, and I don't want to stop the streaming, but I'm going to attend to it later. Okay. Um. Okay. What were we? We're here now declaring our route. Now let's put in our route name. Let's say another screen, and let's say another screen here. It's going to throw up an error now. What does this thing need? Our route takes in a widget builder. So have a builder. Okay. I think I'm mixing something up. Well, this is the good thing about working on several things. If you forget one thing, you can always have a reference point. And at last, I still opened it.
Boss, be like that push name is the best, Abby.
What?
That push name, navigator dot push name
Uh-huh.
is the best to use, right?
Push named, if it's the best to use.
Yes. Yeah.
I wouldn't say there's any best to use. Everything just depends on your use case.
Because that push name now, okay, no halasha. Oh, okay.
It just depends on your use case. Okay, now let me show you a particular use case for this one that I used it for. Let me open the same project. Now, the reason why I added this one is that so I can call this particular thing anywhere I am in my widget tree. And let me show you where I am even using it. So, there's a particular.
But hope this one is not a go router.
It's not what?
Hope it's not a go router.
No, it's not a Go router. We've not started using packages. I personally don't like using packages for my routing. Okay, yeah, I have found it now. See, this is where I made use of this particular guy here because I did not want to call this my widget over here. But I'm going to explain it. Let me just minimize this one because I'll have to go back to it. Okay. Now, over here, where were we on this particular? You'll now have to put the route name here. Now, let's put in our route name, which is another screen. Now, let's see if this will work. Push name. The reason why I'm skeptical if it will work is because you usually have to declare this at the beginning. But let's see. Okay, yeah, it worked. So yeah, this is good to go. Now let's see what happens if I put in a name that does not exist. Let's see, Minsk, and let's hit it. You can see an error comes up. Could not find a generator for routes settings, meaning no in the blah 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 for GGGGG. You guys can see, Abi. So that tells you that if you're using push named, you have to be very careful for you to actually pass the proper name that has been declared in here. And you can have several routes that you can declare here. And back here, that's where Go Router comes in all these types of things there. It helps you manage these things easily. Let's say we have another page here, stateful. Okay, let's call this our stateful page. Stateful screen and over here. Now let's hit continue. Now let's change this to stateful screen. We hit it, it takes us to our stateful screen. You guys are seeing how the push named is used, Dabi.
Yes, sir.
So instead of declaring your material page route to move to another page, you can just use a name for that page, which must be declared inside this route here. If you do not declare it, it's not going to work.
Okay, I can see the differences now. Yes.
Or you can see the differences now.
The other one you have to declare. The other one there's no need to declare it.
Yeah, there's no need for you to declare it. I personally prefer this one over here because from this point here, from this navigation point, I can go to that screen directly.
Exactly.
I don't need to look for. Now, at this particular point now, you don't know the particular widget itself until you find the route, this particular spot here that generates this file. That's when you can have like, oh, okay, stateful widget screen name here belongs to this widget. You can now navigate there. Meanwhile, in this other one, everything exists rather within this spot here. So each time you see named, it uses the named parameter here. Now let's go for another example using the same push named. Let's say push, we have, remember we have push named, we have push named and remove until. Now see, this push named and remove until, it does the same job as this. But as you can see, it uses the string name, not the route. So of course, since it's a push and remove until, it takes in this predicate that returns, or rather this function that returns a boolean, which I need to comma and push name and remove all. Oh, I did for the wrong one. It's supposed to be down here. Okay, and push name and remove all. Now it has done the push named and remove until, so there is no history behind. And also, one very important thing you have to notice, when you push and remove all, you have to take into consideration that users, especially Android users, they have a dedicated back button. If this back button is not here, remember users have this back button. So now once I hit this back here, you see it closes the application because there's actually nothing to go back to. So anytime you're using push and remove, be very cautious to know what the next step is supposed to be. Because if you do push and remove and take them to the screen, that particular screen should not have any form of navigation that can take them back, because there is nothing for them to go back to. So let me try to open the application again over here. I have to pause and reload this because it's practically closed it. Okay, and we have them here. Okay, so I think that is all in terms of basics for navigation. I think there is one more that I should take a look at. Um, Push. Yes, there's another one called push replacement. Now let's see what this push
Yes, yes,
replacement
yes, yes. Push replacement.
does. Now, what push replacement does is that, as I told you earlier, there is a hierarchy how Flutter does things. Now, let's say you have screens. Okay, I'm not even going to use words to describe this one. I am just going to show you how it works. First of all, I have to remove this other guy. Now, I have to go to my stateful screen. Let me come to my stateful screen over here. Let me add app bar. Let me add app bar here. Remember, let me start from here. Remember, I pushed to this stateful screen, which means I just put this screen on top of the previous one. So basically, I have two screens in this my widget tree. My first screen and this second screen here, which I am on. Abi? Now, let's move to
Yes.
another screen from this my stateful screen over here. Um, let's see, navigate to another screen. My P button messes up sometimes. No page route builder. Yes, give me. Now I navigate to another screen. Now let's hit this back button and let's see what happens. I hit back here, it takes me to this screen here. I hit back here and it takes me to my main screen. You guys have seen the hierarchy that it moves, Abby. Now, first of all, I go to my stateful screen here, over here. I navigate to another screen, which is here. And when I want to go back, I go back here and I go back here. Now, let me show you what push rename does. Say push rename.
Push
Push
replacement.
replacement, rather. Let me copy. Okay, go to another screen. Push replacement. Let me call this one. Push replacement. I'm going to cut you out. I'm going to put you here. Now I'm going to get you over here. And, yeah. Okay. Now I am in my what is to call it again? In my stateful screen. Let me navigate to another one. Let's put this one as push so that we can see the difference. Now I hit push here. It takes me here, Abi. But when I hit back, it takes me back to this my screen. Now I hit push replacement. Yes, it takes me here. But if I hit back, it takes me to my first screen. Now, what push replacement does is that it removes, or rather, for simpler term, it replaces the current screen with the screen that you want to go to. Basically, it's doing two actions at once. It's popping and it's pushing. Let me show you. We have navigator dot pop, and we also have navigator dot push. Okay, I think this might be a good example of how contexts work. Let's see. We are calling two things here. Now, if I hit back, you can see it takes me to this one here. That's to show you that these two functions are basically just this one here. Okay, I'm not going to ask Mike because his mind is not even here at all. Baki and Lola, are you guys following?
Yes, sir.
Lola, Lola, oh,
I don't think she's on the call.
oh, oh, she has gone. I think her network is a bit buggy. Um, but Mike, you are just looking now.
Yes, boss.
Yeah, no, yeah. Let's just wait for a few moments if Lola will show up. Okay, we can continue. Okay, so I just showed you that this push replacement is basically pop and push together. Okay. So I think that is it for navigation. Let me still see. Let's see. Dot push. Which one have I not touched? We have pop and push named, which is basically using the same named something. Push replacement named. We already know how named works now. So it basically uses the same pattern. And yeah, I think that's it for navigation. Okay, we have just some few minutes left, so I'm just going to do a brief introduction into dependencies. Now, after today's class, I'll be giving you guys some designs for you guys to practice on so that you understand how widgets work. Oh,
Okay. Yes, sir.
yeah. So basically, you guys have now till next week to practice your rows, your column, your container, your expanded widgets, your gesture detector, your navigator, and all the other things that we've talked about. Know the difference between your stateful, stateless, and all those things there. Okay, now we're going to take a look at our the big guy, the guy that does heavy lifting for us, dependencies. So, what are dependencies? Personally, for me, I will define dependencies as helper code from other people that enables us to build our product faster. Example, you want a video player in your application. Instead of you to start coding a video player from scratch, which will take you months to do, someone has already done it and has made it available for you to use. That's why it's a helper code. It makes development faster. Now, the thing about dependencies is that dependencies comes from two sources. It comes from first the Flutter team, which is basically Google themselves, and secondly the community. That's the two sources. And as for the community is basically you and I, the developers that make use of Flutter. You can create your own dependency. If you feel people need a particular code that they don't need to rewrite, you can write it once and make it available for others to use. I think one of the things I am going to do, I'm going to publish a Bible picker. Aha, back in.
Yes, sir.
You know that Bible picker on Vigoplace?
I'll check it out, sir.
Oh, okay, yeah, you should check that particular thing out. When we were trying
Okay,
to
sir.
do, okay, and the way for you to check it out is by trying to create a, what you used to call this thing, a Bible post from a ministry place.
Yes, exactly. But I don't have a, I don't create a ministry place. It's Mike that may have a ministry place.
Yeah, I'm just trying to explain it. So once you want to create it, in fact, let me open the Vigoplace application instead of
Okay.
me talking. Okay, let me navigate to my ministry place. Yeah, these guys need to do something about the speed of this thing. Because I can assure you my network is A plus. Speed test. Let me hit my speed test so that you guys can see it. This one is still loading. Uh, network image. I say network image. Network calls. Why is this one taking long to load? What's happening? Can't be. Oh, Chelsea is even winning 1-0. Why is this guy taking so much time to load? What's happening? Fast.com. Let me enter fast. Aha. So why is speed tests? Probably their server is having issues. Oh yeah, my network is poor. Oh, yeah, it's poor at this particular point. Aha. You're supposed to be getting to 100, not this one that you are doing. Yeah, something is happening. Come in, let me check. But still, this should have loaded since, yeah. I think there's something happening to our backend. I'm on 5G now and bars are full. Okay, finally here. Let me navigate to a ministry place and Bible verse. Bible verse post. Aha. You see this place over here? This picking of the Bible that you want, picking of the book, picking of chapter, picking of verse, and picking of from to and from, and viewing this Bible verse over here. All these things I had to code it from scratch because I had to check if there was a package that does Bible picker. There is no single package that does Bible picking. So in this particular scenario, I, as I have coded a Bible picker here, I can release my code out to the public that whoever wants to make use of this particular functionality of picking a particular Bible version, picking the book, picking the chapter, picking the verses, or making it multiple. Let's say you want to pick multiple verses from a particular book, like this. It's going to allow you. I am just going to make this whole functionality a package so that people will just download my package and just use my code without them having to think about the logic and writing this Bible picker from scratch again. I don't know if this example makes sense.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah. So basically, that is what.
Just like bottom nav bar too. Somebody has the bottom nav bar too as a dependency on top there.
But bottom, now I'll explain one thing about dependencies. Me, I try as much as possible not to put in too many dependencies in my application. I don't want my application to be dependency dependent because there are some projects that you see that you just see bunch of dependencies and they are doing what the Flutter engine came with. For example, now back you mentioned the bottom sheet, Abi,
No, bottom left bar.
bottom nav bar. Flutter
Yes.
comes with its own bottom nav bar. In some cases, you can decide to use a dependency that gives you a bottom nav bar that has some animation, some this, some that. But by default, Flutter comes with its own bottom navigation bar. So there are some cases whereby it's not necessary for you to use a dependency in some cases because Flutter already has that within it. It already has that function or that widget for it. Ha. There was one other time I saw someone add a dependency. Guess what that dependency does? That dependency just puts space between widgets. That's what the dependency does.
Okay, yes, like gap, GAP, gap.
Yes, gap. That.
Mm.
Now, why use that dependency when you can just put a size box and put the space there? It does the same thing. Now, and the reason why I do not like putting in dependency so much is that the first one is compatibility with other dependencies. There are some cases whereby a dependency depends on another version of another dependency, and the one that you are trying to import is depending on probably a higher or a lower version of that same dependency. An example is that okay, I have two dependencies, dependency A and dependency B. Both of these dependencies make use of dependency C in their code. Now, dependency A depends on version 1 of dependency C to work. Meanwhile, dependency B um, depends on version 2 of dependency C to work. In that case, now there will be conflict because now you cannot declare two versions of one dependency, and that is what we call dependency hell. Don't worry, you get to it. You'll get to it. So yeah, that's basically the long and short of dependencies. For the purpose of this class, let's just take one: how to declare our dependency in a project. And the source of all dependencies, I wouldn't say all, of most dependencies is in pub.dev. Now over here, you can search for packages. Now let's see which package should we go for? Which one should we go for? Okay, let's take a look at that gap. Flutter widgets for easily adding gaps inside Flex widgets. And it's funny that it has 265K downloads. It's funny. I saw one other meme, or not really a meme, it's a video where someone was reviewing another person's code. And he saw that the person added a dependency. Guess what that dependency does? The dependency tells the programmer if a number is an even number or an odd number.
Wahala.
Wahala. Wahala. So basically, they are in the same WhatsApp group of this gap here. Now let's enter into this gap. Once you enter into your PubDev page and you enter into that package page, you will see what that package does. They will always give you a sample code And if it requires any additional things for you to do to make it work, they will always put it here. And of course, we have our change log, which shows you what has changed between each version of that package. You have your example section, which shows you how to use it, an example. And we have here how to install it, which shows you this. I'm going to show you several methods on how to add a package to your Flutter project, and it shows you the versions. It also shows you the scores. I do not come here because, yeah, I usually don't have any business here. And one of the most important things that this page actually gives you is the repo to the GitHub. Now, once you open it here, you will see the code that they wrote for that package. And more importantly, it shows you the issues section. It shows you the issues that people have complained about. And over here, you can select a particular issue. So if you're having the same issue here, you can select it and you start to read comments about that particular issue. Sometimes they provide solutions, sometimes they don't provide solution. It's just part of the debugging process. So I'm also showing you ways in which you can try to find issues with, or rather find solutions to issues with a package that you can encounter. Now over here, this person has put his issue and the response is, this seems not to be the package to be package related, but something wrong in your code. Please provide example code to reproduce the issue. Otherwise, I propose the issue be closed. So yeah. So now let's look at the several ways we can add a package to our project. The first one, which is my favorite, is Flutter pub add. This is my P that keeps seizing. Pub add. Then the package name. And how do we get the package name? It's from over here now, their page. You can enter installing and to show you this here, this code over here. This is the package name. Then we add it in our code here, gap, and it downloads it. It's added to our pub spec and it downloads it. You can see it here. It automatically added it. This is where all your dependency goes. Please be very careful with the indentation over here. All of them need to be aligned under dependencies. If you move the indentation, it is falling under this Flutter here. So please take note. And of course, it has been downloaded over here. You can see plus sign here. We've added gap with the version number 3.0.1. Now, let's say for some reason we want an older version of this gap package. This number over here, 1.10, blah, blah, blah. We can come here. First of all, let me even explain what is happening here. You see this symbol over here? It's saying that download any version that is either equal to this or higher. Now, if I remove this sign over here, you're telling it to explicitly download this version. It's going to load, yeah. This is my pub. Get is loading. It's going to explicitly download this version. The third one is that if I remove version completely, it's going to download a version that is compatible with all the other packages within my project. So yeah, that's it on how to add packages to your Flutter project. And of course, you can manually type it if you have the thing in your head. Let's say, I keep forgetting because I rarely use AHA 6. Let's say 1.0.0. Aha. Now, since I put back here, Mike, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. That is version error bar.
Yeah, version error. Now you have to read it. It's saying the current SDK version is 3.44. Now, because Bootcamp depends on version 2.0 and above that has no safety. See, version solving failed. The lower bound, blah 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 blah. You don't worry, you guys will learn how to read these errors because you encounter it. So the more packages you add to your project, the higher the chance of encountering an error when you are trying to get all the packages to work together. That is why, as much as possible, I try to use as less dependency as possible. So yeah, I think I'm going to end the class here today. You guys are going to take this one on packages. Next class, we are going to install a package and use the package. Yeah. So that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well done.
So is there any question?
And from my end, I don't have any question.
Okay, Mike, what of you? Mike. Um, I think that's it. I'm going to stop and stop my stream.